All right, on the bench today, we got a brand hammer new 540i, tore down for some performance work. I didn't do any video of the stock jug. There's actually a quick snippet of it in yesterday's video for the Echo 2511. I did lower the intake just a little bit. Can't really widen it because you're constrained by the width of this right here that covers up your intake. Left transfers alone. I don't normally do that, but I am on this one. And you may not, this doesn't really give it justice, but there's not a lot of mating. Whoops, come back here. There's not a lot of mating surface right here. And I didn't want to open those up anymore, so I want to try and keep flow going. And you think, what's that? Well, you know, the guy who made this, where we go? There we are. The man who put this saw together at the factory doesn't understand what burst is. So in ode to the 2511s, I put these little nostrils in here, hoping, I did lower this down just a little bit because this is gasket delete, or it's going back as a gasket delete. Exhaust port, let's see if we can't shine a little light on this. I did raise it. There was a step all the way around on the inside and widened it. I only widened it a touch on one side because you have a locator pin over here that you don't want to get near. You will hang a ring. So it's widened more off to one side than the other. But I'd say it's probably 25% bigger than it was. So it's a significant improvement. The muffler had a little tiny hole in it. I opened that up about as much as I could. When you do this, you don't want to go past where the deflector is. You may be in danger of burning the plastic or whatever is directly above it. That'd be frowned on for a brand hammer new saw. All right, let's talk about the bottom end. This crank seems to be different than the older version. And I couldn't manipulate the crankshaft out of the way to show you the bearings, but those are roller bearings in there. They're actually the exact same bearings that were in the original 540, and it uses that style seal, which is also used in the old MS200 Ts. So if you ever go to a steel dealer and you're rebuilding a MS or a 540, you can order bearings and seals for a 200 and they will fit. They're the exact same bearing and seal combination for the Husky as well. Okay, I'm not a fan of this. So just when you put your air baffle on, make sure that that's tucked in here, that's tucked in here, and then you get this in. That's normal. And then that has its home that it goes through. There's an indentation in the case to hold it. But then if you don't do this, when you take your starter off, if you look down in there, I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more light on here. It's a terrible angle. But if you look right there, there is a track that you need to push those wires down in so they actually pinch and hold them. Now, those wires, if they move from that position, will be next to this flywheel fan rotating at about 13,000 RPM. You do the math. Wouldn't be my first choice of where to put those. Now that's a proper kitty. Anyway, saw's all back together. No harm, no foul. Did want to touch on one thing. The 540i battery saws run this same chain as well. And this is your narrow kerf. So this should be 43 gauge. All right, so you're taking, that's your groove is 43 thousandths. 325 mini. So this is actually smaller than like your Pico chain or the Oregon Low Pro. And even, I mean, it's all marked up Husky and everything else, but the bag says it's made in Oregon. So anyway, you take that for what it's worth. Here's your 16-inch bar. This stuff actually cuts really good, even though it's got all the bumpers and stuff. I just, you know, safety first, I guess. I don't know what kind of business. Any professional that I've ever met can't stand to have these extra bumpers on here. And I don't blame them. Anyway, enough about that. Well, let's put some gas in this thing and get her started. Why do you need these huge holes in the bar for the chain tensioner when you've got this little itty bitty nub right here? That's like a hot dog in a hallway, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, this is silly. So if I'm going to tension the bar, I usually lift up or I prop the tip of the bar on the counter, and then look. There's like 1/8 of a turn. What is that? That feels tight, but I'm loose. Anyway, let me mess around with this a little bit more. Rich, what's it doing all in pieces? I thought we were going to go out and test this thing. On the third pull of Christmas, my husky gave to me this. It belongs on this divider. Last I saw, it was there and intact. Maybe when I pulled the carb out to hook up the computer, when I pushed it back in, it pushed that off and got wedged in between the crank lobe and the case. Nothing hurt. Cylinder's fine. You know, no scratches, no nothing. Just managed to fall into the abyss. All right, I'm going to put this fucker back together again. All right, that's all straightened out and it's clamped down on there. We should be good to start all over again. Anyway, that's fun. All right, guys, final thoughts. Aside from this being a really intricate build, the saw runs like an absolute raped ape. So I'm happy in that standpoint. Saw seems pretty well balanced. One of the things I really do like, and I don't think I showed you this earlier, is this new and improved air filter is really, really nice. You know, it's got, you know, a little molded rubber stuff to make sure nothing gets in. So I think that fits in more with, you know, the Husky of yesteryear with really, really killer filtration. Be interested to see how this goes long term. One other thing that happened to me when I was starting this, so this is how your choke works. Let me see if I can't lay this on its side just a little bit. All right, so in order to do the choke, you got to push up and then push down on it, and that locks it into the choke position. So when I pulled the cord, I guess my knuckle or something hit that and it just popped off. So I pulled 6 or 7 times and nothing happened. I'm like, what's going on? And I looked down and I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Put it back down on choke, pulled it, and it fired on the first pull. So nothing really bad about that. It just seems that's a little easy to disengage. As far as these dogs, they do give you a lot of bite. I left the factory dogs in the box for Ian, and he can figure out which one he wants to use. They'll give you plenty of leverage that I don't think you need with a nice sharp chain. Tensioner, I think could be just a little bit better, but it is what it is. All in all, though, I think Husky came out swinging. And if you look at the price point on these, I think they're like $700. Seems off. I don't quote me, but I know they are priced well below a 201, which is getting ready to get a new increase. But that'd be for a whole nother video. All right, so thanks a bunch, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me, and I will see you on the next one.